that's so nice. Was it worth it though?
Alright, see ya. No. I love watching my own videos. Wait, crying obsidian sucks. Okay, buddy. This video is dedicated to once and for all settle which blocks are actually the best. To determine this, we'll be ranking each block in a tier list, starting from the lowest tier, the D, to the highest tier. Additionally, we'll be introducing a special tier reserved for blocks that deserve nothing less than permanent deletion from the game. To display these blocks, we'll be needing a place to put them, and that will be right here.
Treat me like white teeth. Don't get me
Now, the room. I think we'll start by adding the walls, then the tier list, some pillars with more details, and let's make this place look a bit older, and add some water flowing down. Perfect. I hope these transitions were good. They were. This is how we'll be ranking them. We'll divide the blocks into different categories: wood, stone, nether blocks, and so on. We'll complete ranking one category before moving on to the next one. Some type of variants won't be ranked, such as stairs and slabs of a block. Instead, we'll be ranking the block itself, which counts for all the different variants it produces. So, let's get to it. The first category that we'll be ranking is the wood. So let's find some.
Nice big chunk of logs.
And here's the oak, dark oak, spruce, acacia, jungle, mangrove, and of course, some of the The first on the list is D tier, which will consist of 3 blocks, all acacia, log, stripped log, and plank. And why does these deserve D tier? Well, first of all, the log looks like stone. I mean, look at this. It doesn't even affect the log. The stripped log, on the other hand, looks like terracotta. And the plank? It's boring. D tier. Get out of my face. C tier. This tier will consist of 2 blocks, the mangrove log and the mangrove plank. The log, again, is boring, but slightly better than acacia. The stripped version, however, is getting an upgrade, because as we all know, an unstripped log is an ugly log.
We all know this.
Which is why this deserves a B tier. Speaking of B tier, wait, Nyvo, what are you doing? Why are you skipping 2 tiers? Yeah. Wait. Why did I do that? Okay, I mean, come on. This isn't even debatable, right? Right. B tier. This tier will have a total of 4 blocks. The stripped mangrove log, along with the 3 types of jungle wood. The log, stripped log, and plank. These are blocks that I never use, but I mean, they're alright. A tier. A tier will of course consist of the remaining blocks. Dark oak, all 3 types, and the cherry log. But Nyvo, aren't you forgetting the birch wood? Birch is straight up trash. If you ever spot anyone using this block, stop them immediately. They clearly don't know what they're doing, cause this block fucking sucks. Wait.
What?
What do you think you're doing?
Nothing.
Come here, little. Piss me off. Don't ever use that plug again. Get here. Get him out of here.
Know your fucking place, trash.
Do I have them all? Oh wait. No, I'm missing 2. And those 2 are in the nether. And that's not entirely true. I'm actually missing 3 types. The warped, crimson, and the oak. Which I didn't realize until I started editing. So yeah. Oak, A tier. And the Crimson and War blocks will be placed in A tier along with their stripped versions. The planks will be placed in B, because I find them slightly more dull compared to the logs. We're also missing the leaves, and with the help of a smooth cut, we can easily identify from bottom to top the different kind of leaves. Birch, mangrove, spruce, acacia, oak, jungle, azalea, flowering azalea, and the cherry leaves. I mean, S tier, come on. These leaves, perfection. And as of the nether leaves, these will be placed in B tier. And this is the final ranking of the wood tier. I like. Actually, let's just move these around a bit. And let's give the mangrove leaf an upgrade. There we go, much better. Now this is the final ranking of the wood tier. And with that, stone tier. Now collecting these materials will be pretty easy. We'll just dive into the nearest cave and start mining. And here's the deep slate, couple deep slate, some andesite, regular stone, and we'll collect a few of these because we'll be needing it for the smooth stone bricks as well as regular stone bricks. And here's the diorite, granite, tough, and we'll grab a few of these for the bricks. Ooh. And a geode as well. We on a roll, baby. What is this lock, man? That's the amethyst, calcite, and smooth basalt collected as well. Let's craft some of the remaining items. Then we need the dripstone and the mud bricks. Wait, how do I make them into bricks? Alrighty, let's get to it. D tier, stone edition. Now this is pretty straightforward and cannot be argued with. Diorite, granite, tough, smooth stone bricks, dripstone, and the packed mud. These are some of the absolute worst blocks in the game. They only serve two purposes. The first is for detailing, and I hardly use them for that anyways. The other is for filler items in your storage system. Because, let's be real, no one goes, "Oh, nice diorite, I'll be sure to bring that home so I could use it for a build in the future." No. Just throw that shit on the ground and stare at it for 5 minutes until you're absolutely sure it has despawned. C tier. This tier will consist of 7 blocks. Deep slate, chiseled deep slate, andesite, polished diorite, polished granite, bricks, and mud bricks. Now, I actually do like most of these blocks. Like the bricks, I think these are pretty unique, but there's only so much room in each tier, and the blocks in the next tier is just better. B tier. Cobble deep slate, stone, polished andesite, polished deep slate tiles, and calcite. And I know what you're thinking. Aren't these a little too great to be in B tier? And to that I say, A tier. This next tier will consist of 4 blocks. 3 of these are pretty much the best texturing blocks in the game, and the last one is overall just a nice block. The 3 texturing blocks is of course the cobblestone, mossy cobblestone, and the mossy stone bricks. I use these for pretty much all of my builds, to either make it look older or just to add some extra nice details. The last block is the amethyst, and do I even need to explain this one? Enough said, really. S tier. S tier will consist of only 2 blocks, the deep slate brick and the regular stone brick. These 2 can be used for every single one of your builds, and they'll be great. Let's take this boring house for example. Boom, upgraded. What about this pathetic looking bridge? Absolutely. Now, what could possibly make this block even better? That's right, upgraded. Oh my, what do we have here? Is that the block for the next category? I think it is. And the next tier is dirt tier? Soil types? Yeah, I don't know what to call this one. But we'll be needing grass, rooted dirt, sand, gravel, puddle, mycelium, terracotta, red sand, sandstone, the clay from earlier. And I'll throw the ice, snow and the mushroom blocks in this one as well. And with that, D tier. Now we have a total of 17 blocks for this category, and we'll be placing 4 of them in D tier. Rooted dirt, clay, the brown mushroom, and the packed ice.
Baby, I don't understand this.
Grilled cheese Obama sandwich.
These three speak for themselves, but the reason why packed ice isn't ranked higher than regular ice, even though people probably would agree on it being better, is because transportation-wise, it's in the middle. It's faster than regular ice, but slower than blue ice. But Nyvo, I don't want to collect the blue ice. It's so expensive, and it takes so long to get. Well, you want your boat track to be the fastest, right? Then build that ice farm, you pussy. Yes, that was perfect. C tier. Sand, sandstone, gravel, dirt, snow, and the regular ice block, which again is better than this one. And the others aren't really blocks that you see in a lot of builds, but more in decorating roads or farmland, which of course they are perfect for. It makes your build feel way more complete, but still, it doesn't offer much coloring or that flavor you need to make your builds great. So, C tier, B tier. We'll be placing 2 blocks in this tier, Puzzle and the red sandstone. And please ignore the mushroom block. I somehow, in the moment, brain farted and decided it was B tier worthy, even though it's clearly D tier. A tier. A tier will have 4 blocks. The superior blue ice, and again, I cannot stress this enough, if your boat track is made from any other block than blue ice, then I'll personally visit your house, hide under your bed, wait until you fall asleep, then I'll...
Who's there?
No one? Oh, sorry. Blue ice, red sand, grass, and mycelium. And we won't be adding blocks to either S or F tier for this category. Which brings us to the next one. So apparently I wasn't recording? Or perhaps I was just doing some off-camera mining. I've actually already gathered and ranked everything for this category. And I just went down here to get the last couple of ancient debris when I realized I wasn't recording, so I guess I'll just do it all again. So here's the netherrack, glowstone, nether quartz, nether gold ore, magma, basalt, blackstone, soul soil, soul sand, crimson nylium, warp nylium, the bone block, the nether brick, the nether warts for the red nether brick. Now I think the nether has some of the absolute best blocks in the game, because they are either vibrant or unique, with some exceptions. The first 2 we'll be adding are the soul sand and the soul soil. Between the 2, soul soil has the best texture, but the worst features, because unlike soul sand, the soul soil doesn't create bubble columns for easy transportation, and it doesn't allow items to pass through it into hoppers, which are both 2 nice features. However, besides vertical transportation and item sucky, these blocks aren't really used that much. The last 4 blocks that we'll be adding are the basalt, pillar quartz, regular quartz, and lastly, the bone block. C tier. Smooth basalt, the quartz brick, netherrack, the red nether brick, and the nether brick. There isn't much to say here. I like all of them, especially the regular nether brick. B tier. Blackstone, polished blackstone, obsidian, and the gold and nether quartz ore. Now I absolutely love ore blocks, and I think every ore block is a nice detailing block. Especially if you're making caves, older looking builds, actually almost every single build you're making. Ores never miss, and the same goes for these 2, but maybe only in red or nether themed builds. A tier. The first 2 we'll be adding are the crimson and warp nylium. These are 2 very vibrant grass blocks, but also the texturing is really nice too. The only downside is that we can't really place anything on top of them, because that will make them turn into netherrack, which is kinda sad to be honest. Then we'll place the chisel blackstone, which isn't a block you use for a whole build, because that would just look weird. It's more like a sturdy detail block in support sections, such as at the end of a pillar. And lastly, the magma block. Mostly because it looks good, but also because it has great features, such as killing mobs. This can be used for when you're AFKing at a farm. S tier. The first one we'll be adding is the shroom light, which is undeniably the best light source in the game, no question whatsoever. Then we have the blackstone brick, which is a fan favorite along with these 2. We'll also be adding the gilded blackstone, and to be honest, this block doesn't get enough attention. I don't think I've ever seen anyone use this block for a build, which is crazy. It's basically the blackstone brick but on steroids. And the last block is of course the crying obsidian. Also, it's the one I used for the cube, but I wouldn't recommend using it. Trust me, it's a pain to get. But the nether actually has a block in F tier. The block I'm talking about is a nether block.
Oh, really?
And it's of course glowstone. This is the worst light source in the game. It's basically the raw gold block if it was digested. I mean, look at this. Tell me these aren't the same. And I know that glowstone is one of the OG blocks of the game, but at this point, do we really need them? We have shroomlight, for God's sake. But we are actually missing 2 blocks. The ancient debris and another red block. So let's jump to the nether and let's start mining. Ancient debris will be placed in A because it's a flex to build with. And the netherite block will be in S because it's an even bigger flex. And with that, the next category is ore and mineral blocks. And this category consists of the mineral block, raw version, and the ore. But we won't be ranking both the deep slate and the regular ore, because those will just have the same ranking. Instead, we'll rank the first version we find and make that count for both variants. With one exception though, more on that later. So, let's go mining. Okay. And the last missing piece is the deep slate emerald ore, and these are very rare and only generated in mountains or wind-swept hills. So let's go find one. Oh! And we need to get to the wind-swept. This category will only be ranked on how big of a flex the blocks are to build with. And most of these are pretty self-explanatory, so let's speedrun this. D tier will have the coal block, raw iron, the copper, and lapis ore. C tier will have the redstone block, and remember, we aren't ranking the functionality, only the level of flex. We'll have a redstone tier later on. The raw copper, the lapis block, iron ore, coal ore, and the emerald ore. B tier will have the emerald block, iron block, and copper block. The copper is pretty unique because it has 4 stages: normal, exposed, weathered, and oxidized. A tier will consist of 5 blocks: the diamond block, the gold block, the raw gold, and the gold and diamond ore. Oh shit, this tier's looking good. And S tier will only have 1 block, which is also one of the rarest blocks in the game, which is the deep slate emerald ore. And this is the final ranking, and I think it makes perfect sense, especially considering how the nether ores are placed. This next category is sorta like a weird combination of biome blocks and structures. So we'll need to visit an ocean monument, an ancient city, as well as an end city. We'll also grab a couple of these coral thingies, and instead of placing the blocks individually, we'll just hit them with a key Elijah 1 bing bing fade away. This way, it's faster for us to individually point out which block sucks and which don't. So for Sucky Sucky, we have the Skull Vein, Skull Catalyst, Purple Pillar, and Dead Coral. For below average, we have the Purple Block, Endstone, Dark Prismarine, and Skull Block. In the just below A tier, we have the Prismarine, Endstone Brick, Sponge, and Coral. And in A tier, we have the Prismarine Block and the Purple Glass. And the glass represents all the colored glass variants. And for F, Kelp. And before moving on to a rather big category, we first have one that is quite unfinished: light sources. You see, we have already ranked the shroomlight, sea lantern, and glowstone for this category, but there are still quite a few light sources out there, and most of these are pretty easy obtainable, while others are a little harder. Because to get the 3 types of frog light, some criteria must be met. We'll need to breed 3 types of frogs: the warm, temperate, and the cold. You see, each of these suckers drop different kind of lights. Lucky for us, there's a pretty easy way of doing this. We'll first have to locate a swamp or mangrove biome, find these cuties, lock them up, and feed them slime balls. Who's a good boy? Because apparently, that makes them one.
Oh yeah.
And there we go. Now we just have to pick them up with a bucket.
Nope.
What the hell? Maybe we should let them hatch first. And now, we wait. Oh. Please. Yes. This makes it a lot easier to transport them to different environments. And we actually already have the worm type from the previous video. Go watch that after. So we only need to hatch one in the swamp, and this may seem like the nether, but it's actually just my base, which is below the storage room, below the cube, below the ocean, below a snow biome. After they have hatched, we can transport them into the nether, and all the way over here, where the farm is. And then... Now before we start ranking them, I first want to place the melon, pumpkin, and hazel down. And why? Well, they don't really fit into any of the other categories, so... D tier. This tier doesn't have a block. C tier. This tier will have the soul torch and regular torch. And yeah, pretty boring. B tier. B tier will have the already placed sea lantern, redstone lamp, soul lantern, and regular lantern. These are all nice lights, especially the lantern. It adds a cozy looking vibe to the builds. A tier. This tier will have the frog lights. I personally think that these are some of the cleanest looking lights in the game. And as we already know, S tier will have the shroom light, and F tier will have the glowstone. Now, for one of the more interesting and controversial categories, practical blocks. This category will consist of a lot of blocks, like the end chest, beacon, lectern, scaffolding, brewing stand, to name a few. All of the blocks are craftable blocks, so let's just quickly deal with that. And let's just put this here for now. D tier. D tier will have 4 blocks. The smoker, which is like the furnace, but worse. The cauldron, which is nice for lava farms, and that's pretty much it. The stonecutter and the jukebox. You either hate it or you love it, and I hate it. I can't play any songs without getting copyrighted. C tier. The chiseled bookshelf, because it looks cool. The note block, the respawn anchor, even though this has absolutely no use in hardcore. Cartography table. Wait. That looks exactly the same, but it's upside down. Anyways, we'll also add the composter, bed, brewing stand, and scaffolding, which are all useful blocks. B tier. B stands for blast furnace, which again is like the furnace, but worse. But it still deserves B, because it's the job site of the armorer, and he's pretty useful. And then we'll add the barrel for looks and storage, the smithing table, which is for netherite upgrades and templates, the lectern for enchanted books, and the grindstone for removing enchants on gear. I can't count how many times I've used the grindstone. A tier. In this tier we'll have the furnace, which can actually cook both ores and food, bookshelf, the lodestone, and the anvil. The lodestone isn't really that useful, but I like the aesthetics, and it takes a netherite ingot to make one, so it deserves an A tier. And now, S tier. F tier. F tier will actually have 3 blocks in this category, and the first block we'll be adding is the fletching table. What is this even used for? No, seriously, what is it used for? The next block is the loom, but I eventually changed my mind for this one and moved it to D tier, because endless flag combinations are kinda cool. And the last one is the target block, and that is all the practical blocks ranked. And now, we have the redstone tier. But again, before collecting the redstone components, there are some color blocks that I want to add, which is the glazed terracotta in D tier, regular terracotta, and the concrete in B tier, and lastly, the glass for A tier. And for the redstone components, I pretty much have all the materials for them, except for one. And to get that, we'll just grab some redstone,
Yoink.
chop down some wood, craft some dispensers, find some beehives, and boom, a honey farm. And these are the blocks we'll be ranking for the redstone tier, so let's begin. D tier. D tier will have the powered rail along with the hopper minecart. C tier. And in C tier we'll just quickly throw this one in here, even though it isn't a redstone component. And then we'll place the button and lever. B tier. B tier will only have the dispenser, which is useful. And A tier will have the honey block, slime block, piston, and comparator. I feel like especially slime blocks are essential for any major redstone contraption. Anything from a massive world eater to a tiny elevator. And finally, we have S tier. This tier will have a whopping 7 items. TNT, which I'll make sure not to light up, the observer, sticky piston, the hopper, redstone torch, redstone, and redstone repeater. And if I had to talk about why each of these are the best, we would be here for another 20 minutes. So let's skip that and go to the final category, practical items. This category will have items like the elytra, token, rocket, ender pearl, to name a few. And I've placed empty item frames on the wall to indicate how many items we'll place in each tier. D tier has 2 item frames, and in those, we'll place the candle, and PvP players are gonna hate me for this one, and the ender pearl. C tier. C tier will have the flint and steel, because it's fun to see the world burn. B tier will have the coal and bone meal. Coal is what you'll get for Christmas, if you don't subscribe right now. A tier. A tier will have the name tag and the And S tier will have the elytra, rocket, and totem. These are essential for every Minecraft player. Oh, and we can't forget about Roko. F tier will have 4 items. The charcoal, which is only useful in Skyblock. This next item is also useless. I mean, spyglass. Really? Everyone and their mom has already this built into their system, either because of Optifine or some other mods. The XP bottle, because why? It would have made sense if we could actually store XP in it. Imagine all the mining expeditions, where your pickaxe is at 0 durability, and you have to fly all the way back to get the XP. It could have been nice to just have that stored 20 level bottle in the ender chest that you could just break to fully repair your pickaxe. But no, Mojang wants us to suffer. The last item is the chorus fruit. I mean, why would you prefer to eat this? I don't know about you, but that's a no-no for me. And there we have it. This is the entire ranking complete. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Wait, what the fuck? These all wrong. Oh my god, that looks way better. Can't believe I've done that from the beginning. Oh my god.